progress have you made in there?
Now to the movie moment, the most important thing that was said by a politician in Washington today, and it came as some of the greatest dramatic moments in the Senate sometimes do, from the least likely source. You could follow news and politics attentively and not know that Democrat Michael Bennet, the senior senator from Colorado, has been serving in the Senate since 2009. He is one of many mild-mannered senators who do not go out of their way to seek attention. He's the kind of senator who you think might not even have a breaking point. But that breaking point came today on the 34th day of the government shutdown that has left 800,000 federal workers unpaid. His breaking point came when Texas Senator Ted Cruz expressed his concern for some of the first responders who are not being paid. Senator Ted Cruz is the single most disliked senator in the body by Democrats and Republicans for many reasons, including the fact that Ted Cruz himself personally caused a government shutdown in 2013. At a time when 14 counties in Colorado had suffered a state of emergency from flooding, and no Republican senators or Democratic senators supported that shutdown. That was a Ted Cruz shutdown. When Ted Cruz finished speaking, Senator Bennett was so agitated that he jumped up from his seat without grabbing the microphone from his desk, but being unwired by that microphone on a senator's desk allowed him to pace the floor. And when you listen to him now, know that usually when a senator doesn't pick up that microphone, the microphone isn't really capable of picking up the senator's voice. But Michael Bennet took us back to the days in the Senate when no one ever needed a microphone. He reached into his soul and delivered a thing of beauty, perfection, something everyone who was lucky enough to be on the Senate floor today at that moment will remember for the rest of their lives: the outraged passion of the gentleman from Colorado.
These crocodile tears that the senator from Texas is crying for first responders are too hard for me to take. They're too hard for me to take. Because when the senator from Texas shut this government down in 2013, my state was flooded. It was underwater. People were killed. People's houses were destroyed. Their small businesses were ruined forever. And because of the senator from Texas, this government was shut down for politics. Then he surfed to a second-place finish in the Iowa caucuses. But we're of no help to the first responders, to the teachers, to the students whose schools were closed, with a federal government that was shut down because of the junior senator from Texas. Now, it's his business, not my business, why he supports a president who wants to erect a medieval barrier on the border of Texas, who wants to use eminent domain to build that wall, who wants to declare an unconstitutional emergency to build that wall. That's the business of the senator from Texas. I can assure you that in Colorado, if a president said he was going to use eminent domain to erect a barrier across the state of Colorado, across the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, he was going to steal the property of our farmers and ranchers to build his medieval wall, there wouldn't be an elected leader from our state that would support that idea. Which goes to my final point, how ludicrous it is that this government is shut down over a promise the President of the United States couldn't keep. And that America is not interested in having him keep. This idea that he was going to build a medieval wall across the southern border of Texas, take it from the farmers and ranchers that were there, and have the Mexicans pay for it, isn't true. That's why we're here. Because he's now saying the taxpayers have to pay for it. That's not what he said during his campaign.
He wasn't finished. Watch now. Watch Michael Bennet as his feelings about Ted Cruz surge, and he has to hold himself back from making this even more personal than it already is.
Over and over and over and over again, he said Mexico would pay for the wall. Over and over again. That was that. I was going to talk about what he said about the junior senator's father, but I'm going to let that alone. It was after that.
What Donald Trump said about Ted Cruz's father is that Rafael Cruz was involved in the assassination of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Ted Cruz was briefly outraged by that, but has since then actually brought his wife and his children to the Trump White House and forced his children to shake the hand of the man who said their grandfather was involved in the assassination of President Kennedy. Since I left the staff of the United States Senate, I have never once wished I was back on the Senate floor. Until today, when Michael Bennet rose to speak. After this break, one of the people Senator Bennet was speaking for, Faye Smith, will join us. She went to Mitch McConnell's office to tell him that she might be evicted because of this government shutdown.